Hey guys, the ADS crew is here to introduce you to our newest product, our Trim Plus coating. This is a black dye infused trim coating that's going to restore and protect all at one time. So this is a pretty unique product to the market. Again, there's not many dye-infused coatings, especially for trim. The unique thing about this one is it's not just some dye thrown into a ceramic coating. It's actually formulated around the dye. So we are getting carbon black applied to the trim to give it a true restoration dyed finish. And then the polymerized coating is sealing that in. So it's not just some dye that's just being kind of put on the surface and over time can kind of bleach out or fade. This is truly bonding into and soaking into the plastic, and then the polymer coating is sealing that in to give you a long-term finish, up to 2-year durability on this one. You're getting a 50 ml bottle. You'll notice it does look black when you first get it, but this is actually a frosted clear bottle. So as you start to use it, you'll be able to see how much you have left. You're gonna get in the package a microfiber applicator to be able to use the coating with, as well as the full direction and instruction card. The coating is good for a year after purchase, and then up to 6 months, possibly more, once opened. Again, with this coating, you don't really need to worry about it curing or turning hard. As long as the coating is liquid, you're good to use it, but 6 months is a good rule of thumb. The biggest difference with Trim Plus compared to some of the others on the market is our dye is truly bonding into the plastic. You'll notice when you use some of the other competitor products on the market, when you wipe off that coating after the determined amount of time, you'll end up with literally a rag full of dye. With our coating, you'll notice when you use it that there's very minimal dye transfer because the carbon black that we're using is actually migrating into the plastic and rejuvenating that plastic while the polymer coating is sealing that in. So now you guys know all about the formulation of the Trim Plus coating. Let's get it on a car and go through the prep and application steps and really show you what is possible with Trim Plus.
First, we're gonna jump into our worst case scenario with the notorious Chevy Avalanche. A couple different ways to prep these. We're gonna go over, again, our worst case scenario, which is gonna start with our rubber and plastic cleaner, which is our tire cleaner, gonna be diluted in 4:1. A few sprays, we're gonna take our applicator, and this is just really kind of prepping the surface, getting pieces off, anything that might have been on there from the customer applying a previous trim, protectant. And as you can see, we're already taking quite a bit off just in that first step, which is gonna be huge. Now we're gonna go in with our all-purpose towel. We're gonna kind of get some of the residue of the tire and trim cleaner off. Now that we got our tire cleaner step done for our plastic prep, we're gonna go in with our panel prep. Our panel prep is going to be to remove any of the potential residue left behind and give it a final cleaning before we go into our coating stage. All right, so now that everything's prepped, we're going to go in with our trim. Really important, especially on this older oxidized trim, you really want to massage it into the pores and get it going. Right now, don't worry so much about your finish as you should be worried about just getting it evenly applied. You're gonna tell right away, right through here, where I'm already running low on product. Simply just gonna apply a little bit more. And again, one of the key factors that we really like about it is we don't have to come in here and mask off any of the painted pieces. Any excess material that gets on there wipes right up. So again, this is a worst case scenario, extremely faded trim. It's going to use more product than something that is newer or in much better condition. So be generous with the amount that you're using. And again, really, really work it in. That's gonna give you your best results. So So right now that I've kind of gotten everything evenly applied, I'm gonna kind of quickly go over it just to kind of do some self-leveling, just so I'm giving myself the best chance at wiping off the least amount at the end. And that right there is gonna be good enough for your first round of Trim Plus on extremely oxidized plastics. All right, now we're gonna go in with our second application. A lot of the times you're only gonna need a single application, but when it's this extreme, a second application is gonna go a long ways. I'm likely gonna use a little bit less product this second round because the first round kind of soaked a whole bunch in. I can already tell right now how much further the product is going versus the first round. But you're gonna know right away if you need a second round. You're gonna see some spots that might not finish as well as others. Just simply go in with your second application, usually looking at about 4 or 5 minutes after your first one. But again, a lot of the times you're not gonna need a second application. It's just simply, this is the worst case scenario for trim. So we wanna really make sure that all this plastic and all this dye is getting absorbed in. And if you remember, I stopped 2 separate times and applied more coating on our first round. I was able to do the whole thing with the second layer in one go. Now I'm just kind of doing lighter pressure just to kind of give myself the best finish possible, even though you can come in here and do a light wipe if you want. But don't be in a hurry, take your time, do it the right way, and enjoy the benefits that you're gonna get for up to 2 years using Trim Plus. You guys ready for the veal? Let's bring you in a little bit. Let's take a look at this. With one product, a few minutes of prep work, we're able to simplify from having 3 to 4 different products and give you that kind of result. That's gonna be good for up to 2 years. Easy to use, crazy difference. Can't get any better than that. Now that we showed you worst case scenario on old oxidized trim, we're gonna show you how to prep trim that's in relatively good shape on a new vehicle. We're basically just gonna take our panel prep to use, a few sprays into your microfiber towel, and then we're ready to coat. So the one thing we really like about the Trim Plus, if you put it on and you kind of pay attention, you're a little bit more methodical about it, you don't necessarily have to come by and level anything off. The other thing that we really like about it is the need for having to mask off adjacent panels is virtually non-existent because it wipes right off. Extremely easy, whether it's paint or glass, it wipes right away. I'm gonna do just a small piece here to kind of divide it up so you guys can see a little bit of even how it makes new trim different, but that's why we really like using it on new and old trim. You just really get that heavy contrast and can make a major difference. And that's usually one of the things that your customers are gonna see first is how good the trim looks. So you're gonna see here, there's no second wipe. We're just being thorough with our application, and you're gonna see right away that it kind of self-levels itself out. One of the other key components with Trim Plus, if you are a business, this can be a perfect opportunity to have an upsell. If you are somebody who does your cars at home and you have some trim, you can simply buy trim, prep like we discussed in our videos, and do it yourself. Now that everything's coated, we just go through and we just do a super light initial level. Again, very light pressure. We just want to make sure that we have a consistent finish throughout the bumper lip. There we go.
All right guys, now you have learned everything that you need to know about Trim Plus, how to use it, what it is, and just the absolute dramatic difference that it can make on some trim with a single product. So let's go over some of the aftercare and the curing guides. So Trim Plus is going to typically dry within just a few minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, it will be dry to the touch. Wait about 4 hours to induce it to any water, and then 24 hours for any washing or chemicals. However, let's just show you how tough Trim Plus is. This was just applied about 10 minutes ago, so it's just dried. Let's hit it with some panel prep. This stuff, it ain't going anywhere. So if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. We'll be monitoring them. And as always, happy detailing.